Welcome back to Storytime. In today's episode, we're going to be reading stories using the prompt, "You are a B-list superhero on the verge of losing your job. During a battle with a villain, you accidentally end up killing one of the more prolific superheroes of your time. That's when you realize that with your niche power that was useless as a hero, you could be an A-list villain." Today's story comes from user Andvarti. Working as a superhero is a job like most others. There's an office, a dress code, a team with complementing skills, and performance reviews. The headquarters of the egocentrically named Team Condor was located on the heart of New York City, and the Great Condor himself looked out over the great skyline, apparently deaf to the pleas of the man behind him. "Please, Hugo, just give me a chance to prove myself. I barely get to come on missions anymore. So how can I show you that I'm still a valued member of the team?" Andy Kanglosi stood in the middle of the Great Condor's office, right in the center of the team logo that adorned the floor, a red C flanked by wings. The Great Condor turned an unpleasant expression on his strapping face.
"We don't use real names in headquarters. You know that, Soul Search."
"Of course. Sorry." Soul Search's eyes dropped. The Great Condor eased himself back into his large leather office chair.
"I can't ignore the complaints of the other members. If I notice that the team cohesion is at risk, I have to remove the offender. The others feel ill at ease around you."
"I've noticed that. But what can I do? My powers make it hard to change that."
"Yes, your powers. I'm sorry to say, but I feel they lack practicality. You can't fly, you don't have super strength. You're a pretty good martial artist, but might as well recruit any bloke off the street who can handle themselves in a brawl."
But I've had successes. I stopped a few villains with my powers." The flustered Soul Search fumbled for words.
"Not enough, and it was messy. Look, count yourself privileged that you are a member of Team Condor. No one can take that away from—"
"Please, give me one more chance. Let me go on a mission. Let's go on a mission together. I'm sure I can convince you that my powers are effective, and then I'll show the others. They just need to understand them better." The Great Condor sighed and stared at Soul Search for a few uncomfortable seconds before rising abruptly.
"To the depot!"
he exclaimed, and strode out of the room. Soul Search struggled to keep up with him as they made their way to the elevator. "Thank you. I won't let you down, I promise," he said.
"We'll see. This is your only chance, so you better be very impressive,"
the Great Condor said while loosening his tie.
"I've had some intel that the Rattlesnake is back in town. Perhaps not the most formidable villain, but hopefully he can be your redemption."
They took the elevator down and stepped out into the black void. Great Condor continued on and disappeared into the darkness.
Oh, right. I forgot you don't have night vision,"
came the Condor's voice from somewhere beyond. A moment later, light flooded into the room from high up on the ceiling girders, revealing a large area with rows on rows of lockers. Further away were various high-tech vehicles. The duo changed from their business suits to their other business suits, ditching ties for masks and suit jackets and pantaloons for polymer armor. The Great Condor picked a sports car as their mode of transportation, which could be transformed into a plane or submarine when the need arises. More importantly, it blended in relatively well in the New York traffic, ideal for missions that required subtlety.
"The Rattlesnake is probably back in his old hideout below Central Park. Who knows what he's planning this time? Poison again? No, I would have picked up signals just like last time,"
the Great Condor mused as they drove through the streets. Soul Search kept quiet. He tried to enter into the meditative state so that his power was prepared for when the time came. They entered Park Drive and slowly rolled through the park.
"Just as I thought. Rattlesnake's colonies are about, sticking out a mile."
The Great Condor stopped the car on the grass near a pond.
"All right, follow me,"
he said, and jumped out. They snuck to the pond, briefly stopping so that the Great Condor could give out an autograph to a couple who passed them by. A man with a thuggish look about him was standing by the water's edge, contemplating the turtles on the shore. He looked around just in time to see the fist coming at him, but just too late to prevent it from knocking him out.
"You drag him in those bushes, and we'll use the car to submerge to the entrance,"
the Great Condor said. The entrance to Rattlesnake's lair was at the bottom of the pond. Great Condor navigated the car to the grate that covered the hole. "I think I can search for his presence from here," Soul Search said. "Make him surrender of his own volition."
Go on then.
Condor turned the sound system and fired up his music playlist. Soul Search jabbed at the power button just as the Great Condor opened his mouth to start singing along with Johnny Cash. I need absolute quiet or this could go very wrong, said to his indignant leader.
This isn't helping your case, but fine.
Soul Search entered his deep meditative state and saw the presence of the mines around him, deep red strands flowing through the infinite fog of spectral outlines, vaguely showing his surroundings. He focused on a strand and followed it. He reached a destination, and somehow he knew he was in the mind of the rattlesnake. Give up. All your plans will amount to nothing. Soul Search didn't send literal words, but rather concepts and ideas into the minds of those you tethered to. You are doomed if you continue on this path. Forfeit. Leave this place and cease what you are doing. It's hopeless anyway. He continued to emit despair until his normal vision returned as the Great Condor yanked him out of a trance. He held him by the back of the neck. His mask dangled from his other hand. He looked at Soul Search with dead eyes.
Do you know what power I don't have?
Great Condor asked in an eerie monotone. But what?
I can't breathe underwater.
The Condor opened the window and strapped himself into his seat. Soul Search yelled as the cold water poured into the car and he opened his door to escape. Before he swam out, he tried to unbuckle the Great Condor, who responded by blasting him with a shockwave. Soul Search reached the surface and waded back to land, turtles darting away from him. Got the wrong strand and now he's killing himself, he mumbled. He knew he couldn't save him. Whatever emotion he planted in his mind was too persuasive to overcome, and even while drowning, the Great Condor was too strong to forcefully drag to land. He noticed something. He was okay with it. He felt powerful. I just killed the most prolific superhero in the world without even touching him, he told a turtle who was watching him with interest. The turtle's eyes lit up, the mouth open, transmitting a raspy metallic voice.
Yes, I saw. I'd like to invite you downstairs.
This could be the start of a beautiful friendship.